evening. I only have a couple of slides here, and I hope I don't get them confused here. And I'm going to try to look at those, and you won't have to follow along. If you would, open your Bibles and turn to James chapter 4. We're going to look at verses 13 through 15. We're going to talk about planning just a bit. Many of you probably have a phone that has a calendar on it that you plan day-to-day, monthly, weekly, even things way out in the future. Some of you probably have a calendar at home that you have things written on that we're planning to do. Many of you may be like me, and you may have more than one or two things where you write down things that you are planning on doing. Here in James warns about boastful planning and thinking about planning on our own. Let's read in chapter 4, beginning in verse 13. Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow I will go into this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business, and make money. Why, you don't even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. Sometimes we don't include the Lord in our planning. We should always put him first. Right now, we're kind of in the late beginning of the football season. There are high school football games across the nation on Friday night. There are college games on Saturdays. The NFL is cranked up and they have games on Sundays and Monday night and Thursday night. What happens every Saturday morning for football teams, or every Sunday morning for college teams, or every Monday morning for NFL teams? They begin planning. Planning for what? Planning for the next game. No matter if it was a great win or if it was a crushing loss, that doesn't really make any difference. They have to plan for the next game, and it's coming very soon. Almost always, unless they're in a bye week, it's coming in just a few days. So they make plans for that. There's not any time to enjoy or celebrate that great victory they've had or to wallow in the disappointment of that horrible loss that they encountered. Our lives are a lot like that. We win big victories. We make huge mistakes. We experience deep joy, and we suffer crippling disappointments. Whatever the case of our life, we have to continue to look forward and plan. If you'll turn to Romans 8 and 28, Paul has some information for us there that says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. That doesn't mean for us that everything will work out exactly like we've planned or we've hoped for. But we know that God has the ability to work everything into his plan according to his timeline. He doesn't miss a single detail of the plan. Sometimes we miss those important details. God doesn't miss those. One way or another, in his time, all of our past experiences, our problems, any pain we've suffered, any worries we have, any of the sins we've committed, any of the accidents that's happened to us along the way, along with every victory we've celebrated and all of the celebrations for personal milestones, all of that will come to serve his purpose for our good. That's God's plan. It takes faith for us to believe that. It's really hard for us to comprehend how things that don't go right for us can possibly work for our good. It seems like when things don't go right, everyone's against us. It's kind of like a football team that's in the middle of a losing streak. Sometimes nothing really looks right or really looks good. We have huge worries about our relationships, about our families, about our finances, about our dreams and our plans, and much, much more. People and the circumstances we find ourselves in almost always let us down at some point. God never does. He is sovereign and He is over all. He protects us, He leads us, and He guides us. So I want to encourage you when we start that Saturday morning plan or Sunday morning plan or Monday morning plan or next week plan or next month plan, let's plan that according to the way God would have us do that. Our plan will be much more effective if we plan for His purposes. We can look at our past mistakes and we can learn from them. We can make great plans with good intentions, but we have to know that we aren't in control of those plans. God's in control of those plans. We know that if we walk with God and follow however He leads us, that our plan is unfolding exactly the way He wants it to be for us. Sometimes that's difficult for us. Sometimes that's great for us. But that's His plan and His purpose for the purpose of all of our brothers and sisters. If you have any need of the congregation, please come while we stand and sing.